Disappearance Day of Jayananda Prabhu. According to dear Srila Prabhupada, the Jayananda Prabhu reached his final destiny, Goloka Vrindavan. So we beg at his lotus feet to bestow his kind mercy upon all of us, so we can follow in his footsteps. How determined Prabhuji was in his services. He never that many attended the Bhagavatam class, and somebody will ask him, he said, I don't know that much. But in his life, speak for itself that he has understood all the import of the Vedic knowledge. So we pray at his divine lotus feet today on his disappearance day to bestow his mercy. The test of a theory is in its implementation. While one can spend a lot of time analyzing the process of bhakti, faith readily comes when one sees the theory in action. We may read so many books, unless and until we get that import put in our life, that knowledge has really no value. My Guru Maharaj used to say it's like a diamond on the head of a snake, glittering effulgence, but they will bite. So Jayananda Prabhu is such a devotee who exemplified in an almost classical manner the process of bhakti from inception to completion. When he left his body on May 1, 1977, Prabhupada instructed that his Defense Day should be celebrated as that of a great Vaishnava. Observing the pastime of such devotee greatly reaffirms one's faith in the process of bhakti. Jim Core was the all-American boy, handsome, very strong, intelligent, born in an upper middle class family. A good student, he took a degree in mechanical engineering from Ohio State University. However, despite his outward trapping of success, he was often unhappy, empty, and dissatisfied with the material conception of life. This is the greatness of the devotee, they realize. Jim did not fit into the upper class crowd. So it was not very surprising that he ended up driving cab in San Francisco. Though an introspective person, he was not really religious. His depression was almost suicidal when in 1967 he happened to read a small article in the San Francisco paper about an Indian Swami who had come to the Bay Area to propagate the chanting of the names of the God. For some reason, the article ignited a ray of hope within him, and he resolved to attend the lecture of the Indian Swami. In the Bhagavad Gita 7:16, Krishna says that four kinds of pious people men begin to render devotional service unto me. The distressed one, the desired of wealth, inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. So Jim was searching for answer from the material miseries, and in such a mood took his first step toward his destiny. Jim was instantly attracted to the Indian Swami. This is the beauty. When your soul is in very nice situated, then and then you will be able to understand who the right person is. Who was none other than Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. And he had been in the USA for only a year and was in process of establishing his mission of bringing Krishna consciousness to the Western world. Jim began to regularly attend the morning Bhagavatam lecture of Srila Prabhupada. On some occasions, Jim would be the only guest listening to the morning lecture. Soon he became very attached to Srila Prabhupada. That's the sign of advancement, to become attached to the spiritual master. And Prabhupada lovingly reciprocated and would sometimes personally cook prasadam for Jim and serve him. Soon thereafter, Srila Prabhupada accepted Jim as his disciple and initiated him with the spiritual name Jayananda. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 19:151, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. And by the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. In this way, Jayananda Prabhu received the seed of devotion out of the causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada. We are all in a way that we have no qualification. Only through the mercy we can get the bhakti. And those exalted devotees, they are always willing to suffer their mercy upon all the fallen souls. So from the instructions and teaching presented by Srila Prabhupada, Jayananda Prabhu understood his special relationship with Krishna, with Guru, and that there is an authorized process to establish this relationship. Jayananda Prabhu was completely enamored by Krishna consciousness. He would rise every day morning before 4, do a little arti, chant his round of japa, read and cook prasad. Then he would go for his incense run, selling incense stick. And he never deviated from this. He was completely happy as long as he was practicing Krishna consciousness. Unless and until we feel really joyful, it says in the scripture, all that our practice and service should give us intense happiness. Otherwise, how long the dry service will go on? And if you are not feeling that, we should look into the inner core of our heart. There is something wrong in our practice. So Jayananda Prabhu worshipped prasadam. When a little prasadam spill on the floor, he would lick it up. He loved to cook, eat, offer, and distribute prasadam in a big way. He even said prasadam with so much love and devotion that it made one immediately want to take some. Another example of his attachment to Krishna consciousness was his love for the holy name. He was always seen chanting and dancing enthusiastically during kirtans. One day, after working hard for 10 hours straight, when all the other devotees were looking forward to some rest, Jayananda Prabhu enthusiastically bounced into the temple room for kirtan. His japa was very intense, very focused, as he to, strove to personally associate with each and every syllable of the Mahamantra. Jayananda Prabhu is giving us and wonderful instructions if you want to further and deepen your japa. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami also mentioned that the process of sadhana bhakti begins with Srila Prabhupada and the other devotees at the temple began to execute devotional service as per the instructions he received from his spiritual master. This is the essence of our devotional life. We must strictly follow the instructions of the spiritual master, not listening anybody else. That's the secret of advancement. As he executed his sadhana sincerely, according to the instructions he received from his spiritual master, he became purified of the material impediment to devotional service, anartha nivrutti, and began to manifest the all attractive qualities of a pure devotees. So if you are not getting wonderful qualities in our life, there we should look into it. There is something wrong in our practice, otherwise this is the standard process. Humility was certainly Jayananda Prabhu's most prominent quality. He treated everyone as his superior. This is the greatness of the great devotees. Even new devotees, he will treat them like a superior. Although his service was glorious, he never wanted any glory. He avoided praise like the plague. Devotees got to know that if they wanted to keep Jayananda association, they would better not praise him. Otherwise, he will not keep the close relations. His humility was very natural, and he always found something other than himself that was praiseworthy. Even though he was a senior devotee, older than most of the people around him, and eminently qualified, he was happy to simply serve them. So once a new boy at the temple wanted to do some service and was asked to help with the trash. The weekly trash run was done by Jayananda Prabhu. And I see if he asks anybody, even though we see on a Sunday feast, the garbage can is getting full, the devotee will throw it. They never wants to remove the full bag. Jayananda Prabhu is teaching us if you want to become advanced in spiritual life, Krishna is watching every action we perform. Who cheerfully took the little help the boy gave. Later, when the boy became a devotee, he remembered thinking, if the garbage man at this temple can be so blissful, just imagine what the rest of the devotees are like. Haribol. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the third verse of the Sistastakam says down the qualification for offenseless chanting. What did it say? One can chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking himself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. in such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Jayananda Prabhu exemplified this verse. He was so humble that just being in his association would make one feel ashamed of one's pride. He was a very special person. Yet no one paid any special attention to him. The great devotees, they are like that. That was just the way he liked the things. Doesn't want to get any praise. Jayanand Prabhu was an expert at everything. Once my son was in Gurukul Vrindavan and he said, if anybody become expert in one thing serving Krishna, Krishna will bless that person to become expert in everything. And somehow or other, I don't know what I did, but Gurudev wrote in a letter to my son, look at your father. He's expert in everything. That's what Gurudev says. But I feel that it's only due to his mercy. I don't have any qualification. Cooking, preaching, deity worship, public relation, sankirtan, selling incense stick, constructions, and anything that it took to spread Krishna consciousness. He was a tireless worker. First to rise in the morning and last to sleep at night. He was always running to get flowers, washing dishes, cleaning the kitchen, or taking out the trash. Whatever service he was given, he would make sure that it was done. No matter how busy he was or how much personal hardship he had to endure for it, no matter how hard he was working, he would never stop for a nap during the day, and he seemed inexhaustible. This is something that we need to experience in our life. Krishna will give everything what we need. If you have a sincere desire to do tireless service, Krishna will give you the ability. And Jayananda Prabhu has exhibited. So many times when Jayananda Prabhu went to Berkeley Temple to distribute leftover prasadam, he would first organize a crew to clean the kitchen, working twice as hard as anybody else. This is the quality of a leader. And then he would transfer the prasadam, load into the van, drive it to Berkeley, organize the distribution there, and have kirtan while all this was going on. Many years later, he readily accepted the position of the driver for the Radha Damodar traveling Sankirtan party, Haribol, working side by side with brahmacharis, scarcely half his age. In spite of his advanced position and seniority, he never asked for anything special and readily accepted menial position under new devotees. As I was saying on the last Sunday, when I saw the Ritadva Swami was sitting and giving the class, I don't know, in my mind the thought came, I should ask Maharaj that I would like to do the laundry of your clothes and iron it. And how I was telling yesterday, Maharaj, that how Krishna is so kind that Maharaj sent the cloth without asking even. One of his servants called me because we have the generator and the power was off. So he said, Prabhuji, would you like to do that service? I said, that's what I was begging actually. So those things can happen in the life. In the Vishnu Puran, Shri Krishna informed Arjuna that one who claimed to be my devotee is actually not my devotee, but who claims to be the devotee of my devotees is in actuality my devotee. So Jayananda Prabhu completely manifested this quality. He was always striving to be the Das Anudas, the servant of the servant. But there was no artificial humility in him. You know, we always, oh Prabhuji, please bless me. But that's artificial sometimes. Material humility is relative. It is predicted on the qualification of the recipient. Jayananda Prabhu had spiritual humility. It was absolute, without any consideration of the status or qualities of the recipient. He served everyone and expected no one to serve him. The process of remembering, discussing, or enumerating the qualities and the pastime of the Lord and his devotees is very purifying. And that's the reason I really like to dwell into the life of those person that has really dedicated their life. This week we continue the discussion of the qualities of the Jayananda Prabhu, who is in relatively short time. He was associated with Krishna consciousness, perfected his devotional service, and left us many instructions, not by his verbal instruction, but by his practical examples. Perhaps the most defining characteristic of the Jayananda Prabhu was that he never criticized anyone. Even if a devotee did something that warranted criticism, he would usually not say anything, or else make the mistake appear as something perfectly natural. He never spoke harsh word or chastised anybody. Sometimes devotee would come to him with expansive ideas of how to spread Krishna consciousness. And Jayananda Prabhu would encourage these ideas, however extraordinary. At the same time, he was not a fool. He could always pick up the right man for the job. Haribol. In the Nectar of Instructions, verse number 5, Rupa Goswami says that one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. Jayananda Prabhu could not even bear to hear the criticism of another devotees. If such a thing were happening, he would simply leave the room. These are the characteristics of an Uttama Adhikari, one who has reached the highest level of perfection in his sadhana bhakti. Like the 6 Goswamis, I was talking to Patit Pavan Prabhu that when I visit the devotees' home, I really relish those time with the devotees. And he was saying that Sanatan Goswami also used to do the same thing. He will ask each and every Bhajbasis how the life is, general sense. And he sometimes even get engaged in finding the right combination of boys and girls. This is the duty of the Vaishnavas. So Jayananda Prabhu was also dear to both the gentle and the ruffians. He was as much at home with the Italians at the produce market as he was with the brahmachari at the temple. Once a devotee was approached by a staggering drunk in San Francisco who looked at his robes and asked, "Hey, where is my old friend Jayananda?" Haribol. Many devotees who took over Jayananda's old territory would meet people who would say things like that. Where is Joni Ananda? or that man. He is the nicest and most pure man I have ever met. I don't know much about your philosophy, but if Jayananda is into it, it must be all right. What a great personality. One woman, public official on the San Francisco board, was famous for giving the devotees a hard time during a Rath Yatra. So the one year when the devotees approached her, she asked, "Where is Jayananda?" On hearing that he had passed away, she broke down and began to cry. The purity in Jayananda's heart would touch even the most clinical. In Bhagavad Gita 5:7, Sri Krishna says that one who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who control his mind and senses is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Haribo. Everyone loved Jayananda since he had completely transcended the bodily conceptions. He would approach a drunk, a hippie, or a devotee with the same compassion and enthusiasm. He spoke to the super soul in everyone, and everyone responded accordingly. Like Maharaj Yudhishthir, Jayananda Prabhu's enemy was never born. And it is said that though Krishna has nothing to do with the non-devotees, his devotees are even more compassionate than him and will try and engage them in the Lord's service. So Jayananda Prabhu was eager to thoroughly engage in Krishna's service. Whenever a new bhakta would come, Jayananda Prabhu made him feel he was engaged in important work. He was older, bigger, and stronger than just about anyone in the temple, and everyone was glad to be working under him. His preaching style was very simple and direct. He would speak from the heart to the heart. Once he was preaching to a couple of hippies while crawled under an automobile. All that was visible of him was a pair of legs. Yet the two hippies stood there, transfixed by his message. During Rath Yatra time, he would organize a crew of cynics, hippies, bloopers, uncooperative personalities, and non-devotees of the street to help build the cart. And he would get them to work for 10 to 14 hours a day, always glorifying them. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Lila 7:11, it is stated, the fundamental religious system in the age of Kali is the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Unless empowered by Krishna, one cannot propagate the Sankirtan movement. Because of the genuine compassion in Jayananda Prabhu, Krishna gave him the unique ability to make people want to render devotional service directly or indirectly. Jayananda Prabhu had almost no possessions. Even during his years as a householder, whatever he had, he used for the service for the temple and Srila Prabhupada. When he was gifted $5,000, he promptly donated that to Srila Prabhupada. And we can see in the introduction of the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada acknowledged these contributions. For many years, he was almost single-handedly supporting the temple by driving his cab for 12 to 14 hours a day. Haribol, what a glorious life, huh? When he was in his last days of his life, he used the money given to him for his treatment to support the Riyatra in Los Angeles. He was extremely careful with what he considered to be Srila Prabhupada's money. When selling incense, he would sleep on the park bench in a bitter cold weather rather than spend money on a motel. He used his considerable charm to get people to donate almost everything that was needed. What he could not get for free, he made sure they received a good value for the money spent. His final lesson in material detachment came when it was discovered that he was suffering from cancer of the limb and blood. Jayananda Prabhu continued as if nothing has changed. When his body became frail and weak, still he continued preaching, inspiring, and organizing from his bed in the hospital. For him, the body was simply a means to render devotional service to the Supreme Lord. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 6 to 54, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu summarized in the phrase Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga, which means renunciation through the wisdom that comes from practicing devotional service. Jayananda Prabhu was a true sannyasi, as one who did not just renounce material objects, but actually renounced the desire for these material objects. He was always eager to use everything for the service of Krishna. However, he had no personal desire for anything material. Jayananda Prabhu was the backbone of the Bay Area Rath Yatra for several years. Behind the scene, he would do everything for the preparation of the festival. He would bag food, bag flowers, bag the funds, buy materials, and build the carts. He would arrange for the permits, organize the cooking and serving of the prasad. Although things always went right down the wire, he would consistently succeed in fulfilling all these plans every year. After the festival, he would cook a cake or a pie for each and every person who had somehow helped in the festival. And because of his efforts, the Bay Area devotees to this day enjoy amazingly harmonious relationship with the city officials. In his last days, Jayananda Prabhu was very busy organizing the Rath Yatra from the hospital bed. He would talk to people on the phone, send his associate to meet various persons, and things began to miraculously materialize. Every moment of his life was preciously used in the service of Krishna. It is said that pure devotional service brings about much opulence. Thought the devotees never seek them out. Once they are there, they are used for the service of Krishna. So Jayananda Prabhu apparently could function with very little or even no sleep. Toward the last few days of the Rath Yatra, he would sleep less than 3 hours a day. Yet, He was the most energetic and enlivened member of the crew. His propensity to consume prasad was astounding. He could consume buckets of halwa, plates of samosas, and potatoes with any side effect. When he was in his last days, he was put on an intravenous diet. Yet, he would often ask devotees to sneak in huge quantities of samosas and cheese potatoes for him, which he would happily consume without any apparent distress. He would sometimes sleep in the Bhagavatam classes since he was very tired. Yet later on, he could perfectly quote from the class or have a deep discussion about its contents. In Bhagavad Gita 4:26, Krishna declares, "The one who is engaged in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature, and thus comes to the level of Brahman. In Narada Pancharatra, devotional service to the Lord is likened unto a queen attended by her maidservant in the form of material opulences, liberation, and mysticism." Jayananda Prabhu never had any hankering for this, but when they came, he simply used them in the service of Krishna. So Jayananda Prabhu has complete faith in Srila Prabhupada. He perfected his devotion by making the instructions of Srila Prabhupada the very core of his life. He was advanced enough to realize that real association was through following the instructions of the spiritual master. Unlike most of the other devotees who would go out of their way to get some personal association of Srila Prabhupada, Jayananda Prabhu was content to work in the background, carrying out his instructions. He exemplified the superiority of association by Vani instructions over Vapu, personal association. This is a wonderful lesson we should remember. Srila Prabhupada would invariably call up Jayananda when he was in the temple. And Jayananda Prabhu would resist, saying, "No, I cannot go. I'm too dirty. I'm too fallen." Such were the transcendental exchanges between the spiritual master and his dear disciple. In Chaitanya Charitamrita in Madhya Lila 19:151, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that among all the living entities wandering throughout the universe, one who is most fortunate comes in contact with a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus gets the opportunity to execute devotional service. And Jayananda Prabhu was one of these fortunate souls who come in contact with a pure devotee of the Lord and under his guidance was able to perfect his devotional life. 6:55, we should be punctual. So finally Jayananda Prabhu passed away on May 1, 1977. He joined the Krishna consciousness movement in 1967, just when it is in beginning, and left the planet a few months before Srila Prabhupada. In the scripture it is said that when the pure devotee of the Lord appear to execute his will, their associate invariably accompany them. One cannot help but speculate that Jayananda Prabhu had only come to serve his eternal spiritual master. The fact that Srila Prabhupada was on this planet at the time of his passing away is also significant. It led Srila Prabhupada affirms that everyone should follow the example of Jayananda Prabhu. Don't keep the teaching just for the sake of knowledge. Knowledge is there to change and transform our life, not to preach or to use anything. When people will say your actions, action will speak louder than the words. So with those thoughts, we again humbly offer our humble obeisances at the dusk of Jayananda Prabhu to bestow his kind mercy upon all of us so we can imbibe some of his qualities and make our life successful. So with those thoughts, always remain happy, jubilant, and totally fearless. And whoever you come across, give them a kind word that their life can also become sublime with no anxiety, no fear in their life. So with those thoughts, I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the desk of the wonderful devotees who is taking austerity wake up every day, join and support this program. From Houston, from Fresno, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Aurora, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Boston, Boise, Atlanta, Phoenix, Tempe, Austin, College Station, San Jose, Portland, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago, Naperville, Philadelphia, Charlotte, Baltimore, Baton Rouge, Alachua, Orlando, Sanford, Jacksonville, Ohio, St. Louis, San Diego, Loganville, Georgia, Maine, Ottawa, New Orleans, Toronto, Calcutta, New Delhi, and Pondicherry. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhu bhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So the devotees that who has to perform their duties, they are most welcome to leave. And the devotees who wants to hang around for an extra hour to chant, they are most welcome to do so. So let's put some plan in our life. What we learn from the life of Jayananda Prabhu, let's at least try to put some of his qualities in our practical life, whatever has attracted your heart. And you will see how much we will get empowerment. As it says that when you place your Guru and Krishna, the layman can climb even the great mountain, and the dumb can become an eloquent speaker. Impossible things become possible. And I have some little realization by creating the infrastructure for the Houston temple that there is no way we can do anything with our own ability. It's everything is done by the empowerment of these pure devotees of Lord. So we should always try to seek the association of those, and Krishna will be kind enough that will give us those ability to perform wonderful service. Yes, otherwise, if we are struggling even to do our sadhana and little service, we should know for sure how far we are. We have not yet imbibed the instruction of our Guru Maharaj. That's the only problem. If you will become sincere to see every instruction Guru Maharaj has given, try to fulfill before you leave this world. That's how we should be determined. Then you will see the empowerment come and you will achieve those things. Not because of our own ability or smartness or anything. It's just by the mercy. Take the advantage to get the mercy by following the instructions so rigidly, like Jayananda Prabhu. What a life, a glorious life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I think the alarm in my living room, I don't know when the power goes off or come back, it just keep on ringing. 7 o'clock. Let me go and turn it off. It distract me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram.